We have a trader who made more than $100,000 in just 90 minutes and he's just 19 years old. Someone should probably stop gambling after losing 99% of his money. And we have a trader who made $100,000 in just a day. And we're starting off with an insane gain by Riley Do. Hopefully my wife's boyfriend will let me sleep in the middle tonight. As we can see, he's up by more than 200% or $100,192 in total. And he's up by so much because he bought 1000 AMD put options for around $45,000 with a striking price at $61 and an expiration date on October the 7th. And the reason this trade is even more insane is that he bought the options at around 12:30 and sold at 2. So it took him just 90 minutes to make $100,000. And his story is even crazier. We've seen a lot of firsts in the market this year. I'm glad I'm the first you've met like this. But here's the story. At 15 I got a worker's permit and started working at a local Mexican restaurant. And for 16 to 17 years old I was able to work more because COVID had moved school online. So I was able to work doubles throughout the day and just do my schoolwork at night. A guy in a green Lambo pulled up one night and we got to talking, and I sounded like the guy on TikTok that asks people what they do for a living, and he told me that he worked for Toyota, and we exchanged numbers. I think I was 16 at this time, and I worked my way up to a kitchen manager at 17 and kept up with him for a year and a half to 2 years, and he was impressed and offered me a position working for him when I turned 18, which I happily took. Worked my ass off from the time I started and was able to accumulate around 115k in a year and a half, and invested a lot of it and learned all that good stuff. I did spend a lot of it though. I bought a 22 Supra, I know, this year, and also was able to pay off my parents' credit card debt and mortgage. But that 115k was solely from work, and then before this and deposits and all that, I put about 20k in and built it to that 50, and that led to that day's trade. But you're correct in saying I do live with my mom still, but I paid the house, so it doesn't count, right? So at just 19 he was able to make 115k working his ass off, and on top of that he made an insane YOLO to make another 100k in just 90 minutes. I think I've never heard a better story. Huge respects to him, and hopefully he can keep it up. And if you're not already subscribed, it would mean a ton to me if you just press that button. It's free and you'll help me out a lot in reaching my goal of 300 subscribers. Thank you. Next up we have a huge loss by Just Average Regard. Just in case you all were wondering if there's still back holders, I'll give you 5 seconds to guess which stock he's talking about. Bed Bath & Beyond. As we can see, since purchase he's down by more than 80% or $37,748.52 in total. He owns around 1,649 shares, which he bought at around $27 a share. So he literally bought at the peak, at maximum hype. He's the definition of buy high, sell low. He lost everything in 2 days, and he figured that it would be like GameStop. It came back after a month of being rat and he made 31k in GME. And the worst part about it is that he can't buy the dip anymore, because that were his life savings and it was all he could afford to lose. Feels bad. I just hope they don't go bankrupt, because it seems like he isn't selling. Anyway, next up we have another insane gain. Trader by the name of Drycar5649 bought the open CPI fake news, and as we can see he's up by more than 300% or $75,732.08, and now his account is worth more than $100,000. He's up by so much because he bought SPY call options with a striking price at $360 and an expiration date on October the 21st. If you somehow missed the trading activity after the CPI report got released, here it is. And this must have been one of the craziest days I've witnessed. CPI report missed expectations and SPY opened around 3% in the red. But then despite the poor CPI report, the stock market started rallying and SPY closed at around 2% in the green. And what did this chat trader decide to do? He was not satisfied and decided to hold until expiration. He decided that on Thursday, but then on Friday at open his sentiment switched, took profits and shoved them into puts. Those calls made him almost $100,000 in just a day. He got his account all the way up to $123,400. And right after he closed this trade, he bought 50k worth of SPY put options, with a striking price at $350 and an expiration date on October the 21st. And I kid you not, he couldn't have timed this more perfectly. At open, SPY briefly rallied and then it just started bleeding out. It closed at 2.25% in the red, so he must have already made some nice gains on those puts. Huge respects to him. Next we have a huge gain by HarHar000. It's not life changing but turned $1,500 to $22,000 even through tough times. Around 6 months ago he started with $5,000 and he didn't have a great start. His account quickly dipped to $1,500 but then it looks like he discovered the secret to profitability. He quickly recovered and continued to consistently increase his account value until he got it all the way up to $22,153.26. He actually had $80K in his account but had to pull out $75K to pay for his Lakers season tickets and buy a hospice. And he was so consistent because he was trading every day. And for him it's not about home runs, just consistency. He's happy if he makes 200 a day on average. If he can average 200 a day overall, and considering there are 252 trading days, that will equal to $50,000 a year. He sticks to his familiar basket of stocks, so he knows their so-called personalities and how they typically move, mainly DraftKings, Apple and Disney. Well, he's one of the few on this subreddit that isn't going for huge fast gains, and it seems like he knows what he's doing and hopefully he'll continue making nice and consistent gains. Next up we have a huge loss by Loud Pineapple. He can't hold this BBBY back any longer. He paper-handed with only 16K loss. He thought he'd be able to retire early if it ever hits $200. He has 7K left and is asking what he should do to recoup his 80K loss year to date. As we can see, on August the 18th he bought around 23K worth of Bed Bath & Beyond, and he sold his position on October the 7th and the 6th for around 7.8K. He also played with some calls but they expired worthless. Man, I still don't get it why people invest so heavily into hype stocks. Like, do they really expect that every stock they choose is going to do the same thing as GameStop? Because for example, this trader thought it was going to go all the way up to $200 a share. And as always, we have some really good advice in the comments. You push that retirement date back like 10 years. Get a job. Bought stuff. Anyway, next up we have an insane gain by G94N. His life has changed in just 2 weeks. He turned just $200 into $6,420.61. He's up by more than 2,600%, which is like multiplying your money 26 times in just 2 weeks. His chart looks absolutely amazing, and even though it's just 6.4K, it truly is life changing. Started with my last $200. Was about to be homeless. I have 5,100 in BP and 1,500 added to my bank, which as of now has a balance of 40 cents. So yes, it is life changing. I now have a chance and opportunities I didn't have 2 weeks ago. Also just got offered a job, but it would get in the way of trading as most jobs do, so I'm not sure I'll be taking it. I'm so glad that he was lucky enough to make such a huge gain, but I just hope he takes the job offer before it's too late. I don't want to be pessimistic, but from all the posts I've seen on this subreddit, there is an extremely high chance that he'll make just one mistake and lose everything on options. Your life sure did change, but not because 6K, it's because you just became addicted to the casino. Reminds me of that kid that made 20K his first month and decided to quit his job and buy a condo in NYC to trade full time. Never saw another post by him again. And it's gone. And last but not least, we have a huge loss by Zomly Tacos. I should stop gambling. As we can see, he's down by 99% or $34,615.40, and is left with just $351.31. And his chart looks so bad. He was never even in the green, and after that huge spike his account got completely destroyed. That spike was actually ridiculous as Kodak and Nikola back around their IPO. He was at work when it happened. He just walked out of the building for like 2 hours to calm his heart without telling anybody. Then he came back with a clear mind and said, let's do it again, and lost like 75% the next day. And his last trade was on Thursday. He started with SPY puts with a striking price at $300 $748. When he started turning around, he started transferring into SPX as calls, little by little saying, ooh, they're cheaper, I lower my average. Ooh, they're more cheaper, I lower my average more. Ooh, they're more cheaper. And they didn't stop getting cheaper. And if you want to see how this trader turned $1,000 into $50,000 at just 20 years old, click on the video that just popped up. And if that is not enough, smash that subscribe button as you'll help me out a lot in reaching my goal of 300 subscribers by the end of this month. If you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.